the ultimate freedom that I think we're all here to discover, lean into, embody is this freedom of being ourselves. That is true freedom on this planet. Hello and welcome back to Remember Why You're Here, a podcast for seekers and sensitives where you can relax, receive, reconnect to yourself, and remember the most important thing of all, why you're here. I'm Asia Suler, author, earth intuitive, teacher, and this is our intuitive reading for January 2026. I had to remind myself like 5 times before I recorded this. Asia, remember to say 2026 and not 2025, because yes, it is now 2026. Have you often noticed that January feels like an entire year unto itself? January is like this longest month of the year. And there's something about this month where we actually have the ability to harness that energy. And so I want you to know, like, even before we dive into this episode today, that the message that I got was January is like its own little cycle unto itself. It's like its own little year that if we embrace what is coming up for us this January, if we embrace the little cycle that wants to happen for us in January, it's going to set us up for the whole year ahead. There's a big moment here in January, and if we embrace the year that is January, it'll be really auspicious for our year ahead. So wanted to start with that. Here are the themes that came up for me in this month of January 2026. So we have themes of fresh energy through change. Love that one. Clearing out to create space, accessing inner freedom, and truly changing thought patterns. Okay, I'm so here for this. So for this month, I picked a card from the Wild Kuan Yin Oracle deck. This is one of my favorite decks. I'm obsessed in particular with the artwork in this deck. So the words are by Alana Fairchild, and the gorgeous paintings in this deck are by Chinese painter Wang Yiguang. So this card that we got that I picked particularly for January is called Let Your World Spin on Its Axis. There is a beautifully dressed Tibetan woman upside down in the card as if she's doing a cartwheel, floating in the air, and next to her is this like beautiful, suspended, elegant, regal yak who is also floating and is gazing back at her. The whole card has this feeling of like play and upliftment and yes, suspension. And I want to say, because I thought this is really interesting, that I have used this deck a lot over the years and I have never, not once, gotten this card. So this feels pretty auspicious. So this deck is called the Wild Kuan Yin deck. And I think I have to talk for a second about Kuan Yin because she's at the heart of this deck. It's her voice that is coming through this deck. And I really see her coming through in this reading this month and coming through as a support and a guide for us this month. So Kuan Yin is a divine being from Buddhist traditions of East Asia. She is a bodhisattva, an ascended master. And the story of Kuan Yin is that she lived on earth and reached enlightenment here on earth, but decided to remain connected to earth, decided not to ascend even though she became a master, to not ascend and leave this earth until all beings are enlightened, until all beings are free. She is this deity, this goddess of compassion, unconditional love, understanding. She is dedicated to this inner freedom of all beings. She's considered to be the goddess of mercy, and she's also known as the observer of the world's cries. She brings with her this sense of kindness, protection, and enlightenment. And to me, that's so much of how this card feels. Enlightenment in all of its definitions. So like realizations, awareness, openings, inner freedom, but like literally also enlightenment, like the lightness of being that can come about when we have these kinds of realizations and we reach these next states, these phase changes in our life. So there was a really beautiful description on this card that comes from the part of the description where Kuan Yin is speaking directly to the reader. And I wanted to just read a little bit of that here to hear her voice coming through. So this is the message from Kuan Yin that came with this card. There are times when change is needed in order for a dream to manifest. I answer your prayers with what is needed to bring them to fruition. Sometimes that means life will appear to be messy for a time, but know that this is nothing to fear. Though you may feel like your world has been tipped upside down, soon it will settle into a beautiful new order, all the better to support your divine destiny. This card talks a lot about, in the guidebook, about changes that are happening now in your life that have a divine purpose. And it really encourages us to embrace these changes, even if it feels wobbly, like doing a little bit of a lopsided cartwheel, that there are changes that are happening within and without in your life that have a divine purpose right now, that it is bringing you closer into your own path of enlightenment, where you are headed as a soul. And it says very specifically in the description for this card that this is part of your prayers being answered. That even if it seems like this is turning everything upside down, that actually this is a part of the prayer that you've been holding being answered. So as much as you can, try not to resist it, to embrace this change. So this card itself was just so beautiful. I was just relishing in the image on this card. And when I sat down to ask about the energies that are coming through specifically for this collective, I felt so much liberation and freedom come through. So let's move into my channeled reading for this month ahead, guided by this card. So the first thing that came through was change coming in with fresh energy. This feeling of literal freshness, and also having the energy you need to make necessary changes. You probably, especially at the dawn of a new year, are taking stock, right, of where you are, where you're at, what last year was like, what you want this year to be like ahead. And there's a sense of fresh energy coming in to help you make those changes. So yes, changes happening in your external life or in your internal life, but also energy coming in to help you make those changes. There was a feeling here of positivity, humor, and play, even within the change. There's this element of playfulness that there's this possibility of connecting to, even as some changes take place in your life. The image that my guides gave me made me laugh, clearly. It was of a purse being turned upside down. So have you ever cleaned out a purse or a backpack and you kind of just turn it upside down and you just shake it and all this stuff comes out? It's stuff you expected, stuff you didn't expect, crud, crumbs, or where did that even come from? That is the energy of this month. Turning a purse or a bag upside down to clean it, and all this debris and stuff coming out, but it being such a positive thing because you're actually able to see what was in there and what you need to keep carrying with you versus what you can let go of. Every time I ever clean out my purse or my backpack, I'm always what is all this stuff in here? I don't need half of this stuff. Let me clear this out. And so that, to me, was the energy of this month ahead. It's seeing what you've been carrying and then clearing out what you don't actually need anymore. When we get turned upside down like that, when change happens like that, when there's this playful clearing out, and yes, I am using the word playful because I think that is an option here. There's this potential to perceive, what do you actually need in life? What do you need to operate? What do you need to feel organized? And I think we often need less than we think. And when we do these clearing outs, we start to see I don't need that membership card anymore. I have 3 things of chapstick in here. So there's this element of a change happening, a purse being turned upside down, clearing out, cleaning out, making space, seeing what you no longer need, seeing what you've been carrying that you actually don't need to. It's like this feeling of like there's stuff accumulated in that purse and there's no judgment there, but you just don't need to carry it anymore. So, if you can embrace the changes that are needed, then there's this sense of like great possibility and openness and like space in your bag for what comes next, and this sense of feeling lighter in life. Now, these changes could be external or they could be internal. So this came through very clearly for me that it might be that something literally happens in your external life that shakes things up for a little bit, but it could also be reflections that you garnered over December and especially over the holiday season that helps you really orient to like some sort of like inner shift or change you need to make in your life, like something that got a little bit clearer about what you really need, what works for you. And so this could be a shift in your perception. This could be a shift in the way you decide to react to things and what you invest your energy in. And it could also be something that is happening in the outer world. But that inner shift, right, will create change in our outer world. So no matter what, we're talking about, shifts, changes that are happening for us to open up to these greater levels of like freedom and possibility and space in our life. And that was such a big theme for this card, opening up levels of inner freedom. You are literally clearing out space to make space, but you are creating inner freedom through deciding to embrace change. There is a way to feel more free in your life no matter what the circumstances are. And I think we all need to hear this and be reminded of this probably forever. And it really reminds me of Viktor Frankl's beautiful work in Man's Search for Meaning. Viktor Frankl was a Holocaust survivor and wrote this incredible book that has been a guidepost for so many. And in the book, one of the things that he talks about is this freedom to choose is, quote, one of the last human freedoms. That when everything else drops away, when every other choice that we have drops away, we still have this choice to decide how we want to respond to something, how we want to think about something. This is the last of the human freedom, this human freedom that cannot ever be taken away from us. Viktor Frankl says, everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. There is an invitation here to transform your reality by choosing the attitude that you have towards your reality. That is a freedom that can never be taken away from you, and that is something very much on offer this month, to recognize the thought patterns that you have, to realize that you have this freedom to choose and to make what could be really big changes in your life, big changes in the way you feel in your life, how you move through your life, what feels like it's possible for you in your life through changing your attitude, your response to the things that are happening to you in your life, and specifically to changes that are occurring. So many of us spend so much of our time, and I know this because I know this incredible collective that I'm a part of, we spend so much of our time really being conscious of our thought patterns, really trying to work with our thought patterns, always on this inner journey. You're always on this inner journey. I know this for sure about you. And there's something about this month where there's this opportunity to make that turn, make that flip to actually change the thought pattern. Whatever thought pattern it is that you have been working on, working with, making headway with. It's this little upside down moment we have this month, this little change here is actually giving us the possibility to shift this thought pattern. That's so cool. And I think this is so exciting. And on the other side, my guides were so clear about this. On the other side is freedom. On the other side is the kind of freedom you've been hoping for. Inner freedom is such an essential state for humanity. This is one of the most important energies we can have access to and we can feel. I think it is, being a sovereign being and accessing inner freedom is one of the most essential parts of the human state, of being a human, of living here on this planet. And when we have access to inner freedom, we have greater access to ideas, creativity, we have more capacity for collaboration, connection, relationship. So you embracing this moment to really see these shifts and these changes in your thought patterns, to perhaps make some change in your life or embrace some change that's happening, like this is going to open you up to further possibilities of participation on this planet. And that is really exciting to me. My guides were saying to me as I was channeling this reading for this month that we are always moving through states of getting more free, even if it doesn't feel like that. And that, in fact, death is the ultimate freedom. I was like, morbid, but also at the same time, it's very true. And they were reflecting back to me that this actually can really help us in our life, because if we're able to see death as a kind of freedom, then all of the mini deaths that happen in our life, we can also see as freedoms. We can also see how inherent within that smaller death is this possibility of getting more and more free. So if this change in your life, if changes that happen this month, or maybe that you feel like you're moving through right now, also have this element of feeling like letting go or the death of something, know that this is helping you to access greater states of inner freedom, that within this letting go is the possibility of freedom in your life. And we have all had moments like this in our life. So if you're having a hard time like trusting this, I totally feel you. But I invite you to think back on a time in your life when you changed your mind about something, like you changed how you thought about something. And maybe you changed it consciously, or maybe it just happened that you changed that thought. And then remember how when you changed that thought about it, when you changed your mind about it, then that thing that gripped you no longer had the same kind of hold over you anymore. So even if nothing outwardly is changing right now as you're moving through this process of allowing for the possibility of your thoughts change about something, then know that like what you're doing right now is you're clearing out, you're organizing, and you're moving towards accepting something about yourself that is going to lead to more freedom. And I invite you, if something does feel like it gets turned upside down for you this month, to ask yourself, how is this helping me to get free? Let that be your mantra for this month. How is this helping me to get free? As I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, January is its own whole little mini year. It's a very long month. It's the longest month of the year in our like collective zeitgeist. We always talk about this every year. Like January feels like a year, and then February is like half a year, and then the rest of the year just speeds by. And there's something about embracing the length of time of this month, because I think it's almost like this month is like a bit of like a time warp where time is going to stretch out and you can do more like work and have more transformations happen this month, because it's such a lengthy month in our collective that it carries this greater potential and possibility. So you can actually move a lot this month. Work with the magic of this month feeling long instead of the feeling of oppression by this month being so long, which is also real. But this invitation to work with the magic will really open up possibilities in that length. There will be this sense of being able to actually relish the length of this month, because so much more can happen. We often go about entering the new year by setting intentions, right? But I'm not a big fan of setting intentions for the entire year. It's a lot of pressure. It's a long period of time. Things change throughout the year. But what I am going to invite you to do is to set an intention for this month, and specifically to ask yourself, in what area of your life do you need more freedom? What would you like freedom from? Where would you like to request freedom in your life? To sit with that question as we walk into January, and to know that January it's this little microcosm of the macro picture of this year, and you can plant this seed this month that will like germinate and really see you through the rest of this year through asking yourself that, and know that when you set this intention to request freedom in an area of your life, that this might be where you have a little bit of a topsy-turvy moment, that area of your life might contain a little bit of that upside down cartwheel moment for a hot second. But this is helpful, right? Because it's almost like going upside down and then everything falls out of your pockets, all this stuff you don't need to carry anymore. And this is also helpful because it's a bit directional. So if you're setting an intention to get free in a certain area of your life, whatever comes up this month, even if it doesn't seem to be directly related to that area of your life, you'll know that that's actually what it's working on and where it's helping to bring more freedom into your life. So, maybe you asked for more freedom in your health and you have something come up in your relationships. Because you set this intention to ask for more freedom inside of your health, you'll know that whatever's coming up in your relationships is actually pointing you back towards your health and the ways in which there is this possibility of accessing more freedom there. So set this intention and then see what comes up. It will show you where there's this possibility for more freedom in your life. It will direct you towards those sources. Also, feel free to call on Kuan Yin if my description of Kuan Yin resonated with you. If you already have a relationship with this being, ask her to come be with you. Ask her to come sit with you in compassion, to sit with you in your dignity, in your strength. She will come help you in those moments where you feel a bit upside down. And take time to praise the fresh starts. Especially at the beginning of a year, we tend to have so much pressure and so much expectations on ourselves to make these big changes that we miss these little fresh starts that we are making all the time, these new steps, these strides that we are taking towards the things that matter most to us. So whenever you can, really take time to praise those fresh starts, to recognize those fresh starts within yourself, and to know that even something as little as cleaning out your purse of all that gunk, all that detritus and debris, can really make a huge difference in how you feel about yourself, how you feel about your life, how you feel about going out into the world, the ways in which you feel you have your own energy organized for you to be able to use and enjoy. And if you have moments in your life this month where you feel like you are upside down, like everything's upside down for a minute, just remember that this is like doing a cartwheel. It's temporary. You will land on your feet again. And that actually this is helping you. It's helping you to get more free. It is an answer to a prayer, and that you will feel lighter on the other side. That felt so clear to me, that we will feel lighter on the other side of what's on offer here. And that ultimately what we're going to move through this month, what we're going to clear out, it's going to help us find healing. Freedom is such a huge part of healing, and the ultimate freedom that I think we're all here to discover, lean into, embody is this freedom of being ourselves. Like that's what's on offer, is a deeper descent, a deeper step into being yourself, being authentically yourself. And that is true freedom on this planet. So I'm sending you so many blessings as we close out this year and we begin a new year. This has been such a big year for me. I started this podcast. I took my sabbatical to work on my next book. I'm so grateful for just everything that has unfurled this year, for your presence here, for getting to share this space with you. Your support has meant the absolute world. For everyone who's left a rating or review or stars, or left me a voice message over on my voicemail service, which if you want to do is at asiasuler.com/remember. It has all meant so much to me. It has buoyed me more than I can express. If you would like to give me a little holiday gift this year, or a little New Year blessing, then you could also leave a review or rate this podcast. It is so helpful, beyond helpful. We just got our stats back for the year about this podcast, and we were all blown away by how high this podcast ranked in the ratings of what's being listened to on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, that we're in this top 5% or something like that of podcasts. It's really incredible, and it's entirely because of you. And every time that you engage with this, you listen, you leave a rating or a comment or review, that just helps so much. That's why it's been so successful. So thank you so much for that. So I will be back next week with our intuitive reading for the entire year ahead for 2026. I was so excited when the image came through for 2026. I have been doing yearly readings now for 7 years. And the way I do those readings is that I work with an image and a metaphor that comes through from my guides for the entire year. And oh man, it really feels like a breath of fresh air. I'm super excited to share that reading with you. So tune in next week for that reading. And in the meantime, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for everything that you have moved through, that you have been through, that you have recognized and worked through this year. Thank you for who you are, and thank you for all the energy that you're bringing into this new year. 2026 has a good feel to me. It really does. So as this new year dawns, as you move through the last days of 2026, and as we move into January, may it bring you spaciousness, may it bring you clarity, may it bring you freedom, and may it help you remember the most important thing: why you're here.